so we're going to make Kefir water. Some call it Kefir water. Basically what you're going to need is you're going to need your grains, which I call the critters. They're the ones that make it all happen. You're going to need a quart-sized jar, especially if you're first getting started. Your Kefir grains are going to need to be acclimated and really become active and multiply before you can move up to something like this, which is what we use for our family. It's 2 quarts at a time, so that's kind of nice. Be able to get a few more bottles out of each batch because we all like to drink it and we go through it pretty quick. You're going to need some sugar. So I like sugar in the raw. You can use white table sugar, maybe not quite as good in my opinion. So I use sugar in the raw, and you're going to need some form of citrus, and then you're going to need figs. So for your first few batches, you're going to want to pick up some organic figs. The important thing here is you need to make sure that the only ingredient is fig, not any kind of preservatives or anything like that. No other flavors. It's got to be just the fig, otherwise you're going to kill your critters. You can also use, after you get a few batches in with your figs, then you can kind of switch over to a more economical solution, and that's raisins. Again, want to make sure that it's just sun-dried raisins, no other chemicals, no preservatives, anything like that. So make sure you read your ingredients. On here, 1 ingredient, organic raisins. So you can use this for subsequent batches if you want to. But for whatever reason, figs there's just something about them that the Kefir grains really like, and it really keeps your grains healthy. So once you're established, I'd say maybe look at doing a fig every 5 batches or something like that. And you can do raisins in between batches, maybe do every other. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pour 1/2 quart of water. You want to make sure that if your tap water is really chlorinated, you want to make sure you use maybe some bottled water or some filtered water, something like that. So I've got a filter on the sink over here, and so I'm going to fill it half full of filtered water. Okay, so with filtered water now, we've got 1/2 jar, and we're going to heat this for 30 seconds in the microwave just to heat it up to make sure that the sugar dissolves a little easier for us. Okay, while that's doing that, I'm going to get my 1/4 cup measurement cup out. So we're going to use 1/4 cup of sugar per quart. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and measure that out. Doesn't have to be exact, but you don't want to be too short on it either, so make sure you get it semi-level. Okay, then you're going to just dump it in here. I just keep mine in the bag. Got extra. That way you're never looking for it. Then you want a clean spoon, and you're just going to stir this until it dissolves. The reason we're heating this first is because we don't want to kill our grains, but we do want to dissolve our sugar pretty quickly. That way it doesn't take forever to make this. So what we're going to do is now we're going to add the rest of the water to bring it up all the way to the quart size. But before I do that, I want to put my additions in, that way I don't make this float over once I do that. All right, so we know that we need some citrus in here because we need to lower the pH of this solution to protect the probiotics as they're doing their job. So we don't want mold growing in here, and the best way to prevent mold is to increase acidity. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this in here. It's a little bit of acid there. I think I'm just going to add another one. Okay, so a couple wedges of a grapefruit. You can use oranges, lemons, limes, whatever, just as long as it's citrus. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add that fig I was talking about. All right, don't put your critters in yet. These guys will die if the solution's too hot. So now we're going to add our cold water and bring this back down temperature-wise. Okay, Okay, so now we're just at the bottom of the neck here. So I'm going to just give it a final stir. Alright, stir that sugar water up. And then it's time to add the critters. So I'm just going to dump those on top. They're kind of on top of my wedges there, so they sink to the bottom, so I'm going to push them past the citrus there just so they can go down to the bottom and do their job. Okay, from here I'm just going to put a regular lid on there. Okay, you've seen these before. These are just canning lids. If you want to, you can also just cover this with like napkin, and then you can put a rubber band around there. And basically what that's doing is it's going to eat all the sugars, and it's going to carbonate this drink and also convert it into that probiotic beneficial drink that we call Kefir water. So that's basically it. We're going to leave this sit for a day, and then we'll be ready to move on to secondary fermentation, which is the other video I just did, when we're going to put this in the bottles and then let that sit out for another day once it goes into the bottles, and that's going to carbonate your bottles, which then you'll put in the fridge, and those will be ready to enjoy.